want to allow animals on board. In Ordis's experience, animals do not eat so much as reload.
Legacy security protocols dictate that a necromech must now demolish the conduit. Do not allow that to transpire. Watch out for explosive necromechs.
Mr. Grindig, sir, I know you are a man of reason, so I ask of you the courtesy of a slight extension on this term's payment. Entrati artifacts are very difficult to come by, and that...
Drusus Thelonius Navarian. Do you think me a gullible man? No. I desire precision. So does our contract, which clearly states the penalty for missed payment is immediate forfeiture.
Given the circumstances, you've done very well. work goes on.
Ready for action. Operator, the system needs you. Will you begin another mission?
O cal 0 açúcares adicionados. Sabe a verão.
The damage dealt by the weapon's passive. Overall, to help you reach that millions of damage, or even hundreds of millions of damage from the weapon's heavy attack, try to stack a lot of damage over time effects to enemies that don't just stack up fast, but also have decent damage over time, as all that damage will sum up to create a devastating heavy attack damage number from the new Harmony melee weapon. The damage dealt by the weapon's passive. Overall, to help you reach that millions of damage, or even There are also a couple of Warframe synergies that you can use with the new Harmony melee weapon. One with Varuna, and sometimes you can instant delete multiple enemies when you combine the Fangs of Raksh with the heavy attack of Harmony. Varuna's second ability can proc multiple statuses, and most often, it procs those statuses that have damage over time. Now, add Roar in the mix that gives bonus damage to damage over time statuses, plus a faction mod, then you'll be amazed at what Varuna can do while wielding Harmony in her hand. But if there's one synergy that I strongly suggest with the Harmony is the melee god Warframe Kullervo. This is by far the best Warframe to deal massive damage to enemies with the Harmony. The Wrathful Advance is really insane in increasing not just the base damage of the heavy attack, but also the passive of the melee. Normally you'll see millions or even hundreds of millions of orange critical hit on your screen, and these numbers come from the Harmony's passive. What's better with the synergy is that with Kullervo's Wrath of Yuko Augment, you can constantly get the 12 times combo multiplier, which then increases your Kullervo's Wrath of Yuko Augment.
we can do for you.
Let the purge begin.
You can constantly get the 12 times combo multiplier, which then increases your melee damage and as well as critical chance through the Blood Rush mod. Aside from maintaining the combo counter, Kullervo's fourth ability does allow you to inflict decent slash damage, which stacks. And increases its damage when you pair it with the Rhino's Roar skill. Kullervo with Roar skill is just insane with Harmony, especially if you have the new Melee Elementalist mod that increases the status damage of your melee weapon. Each hit of Harmony has increased status damage, and this is the main reason why you get more damage from hitting enemies with the melee. However, you can also increase the status damage output of your primer gun, since there's also an Elementalist mod for both primary and secondary. Based on my tests, Kuvan Nukor is the best primer gun for this Harmony synergy, as it has a very high status chance, and you can also use the secondary encumber to proc more damage over time statuses to an enemy. However, priming enemies is already overkill, since the combination of using Kullervo's fourth ability to proc slash and then killing enemies with a heavy attack Harmony will already result in millions of damage. By the way, you might also wonder why I have Weeping Wounds in this build, and it might not make any sense to you. I have Weeping Wounds since to give my Harmony over 100% status chance. It's easy to achieve and maintain this with Kullervo's fourth ability that grants combo count per hit, and you can also use your melee to do it faster. Because I can constantly get over 100% status chance, this allows me to proc both puncture and slash at once. Adding buzzkill in the build is not enough to make slash way more, and proc more often in this build, hence I added Weeping Wounds, so that at 100% status chance, I can also apply slash damage to further increase the damage of the heavy attack. And since slash is the only damage overtime in this build, it makes sure that the slash stack that is being copied by Arcane Affliction doesn't only have high numbers, but is also weighted with high damage. The only thing that is missing in my Kullervo is finally completing the Purple Tau Forged Archon Shard that grants increased critical damage. I will be grinding these Archon Shards, and if I complete all 5 of it for my Kullervo, then it's safe to assume that I can constantly see.
Let's go.
You opened the relic. Finish your mission and we'll take...
Come on.
Extraction is ready, unless you can handle more of the enemy.
Very good.
Ordis reminds the operator to take time for themselves. Pressure creates diamonds, yes, but it also creates rubble.
$100 million damage on the Harmony passive. Right now, the damage of the Colorvo synergy I have shown you is fluctuating from 10 million up to 2 billion at max. With the critical damage increase, I bet that I can see a constant 100 million damage in the synergy. So that's all about it. If you have the resources, then go try out this build now. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you again in our next video. Squad Leader, signing off.
Move and strike. We have to win this. Let's go on the offensive.
Fight on. This test has only just begun.
Reinforcements available. Do you choose to leave now or continue fighting? Keep fighting. Another opportunity to extract will appear soon.
Let's go. For the Tenno. For the Tenno. For the Lotus.
Your potential blossoms. Continue the arbitration.
Extraction is ready. Unless you can handle more of the enemy. Continue to defend. You will be rewarded for your bravery.
Attack us and we will counter.
Continue to defend. You will be rewarded for your bravery.
Attack us and we will counter. Let's go on the offensive.
Have you ever wondered what Gojo does while being locked up inside the prison realm? Later on in the series, we learned that the time flows of the prison realm is very different from the normal world. Therefore, even though Gojo was sealed up for roughly 20 days, he could potentially experience a full 10 years of suffering of emptiness, which is enough to drive anyone insane. Gojo is no idiot. He knew that the more he thinks, the higher chances of him driving himself insane. So for the most time, he tried to keep his mind clear, trying not to think much about everything. Have you ever wondered what Gojo does while being...
If I were to fight Sukuna the king...
The power to tell a story is in us all. The power to change the way we...
Got me drinking. Leave me the time.
Giants do not relent. Still, the stout bow stands.
For the lowest.
The enemy has been exhausted. If only for now. Do not them to seal the breaches. The breach has been sealed. Excellent work. Fight on. Close the ruptures as you would staunch the wounds of a comrade. The rupture is closed. The paradox stabilizes. If the Void Angels break through the wall, their master will be freed. Do not allow that to happen. The Void Angels are unrelenting. You are all that is keeping them at bay. Hold fast. The smallest breach in the wall may become a gaping wound. Thanks to you.
Right, yes, yes. Yes, yes. We really
Innovators
need
and
this.
keep them powered.
Also, I'm not sure why Constitution in this build, and I am saying it does, so it has to be a troll build. What am I watching right now? So, my guy has fast deflection and vigilante vigor on Tortilla. He forgot he's playing Tortilla and not Gauss. What the hell is this? There's I'm speechless. I am absolutely speechless. Arcane
Avoid
precision.
treasure has been located.
This is the primary, right? He said fucking
An
hidden
extractor is out of power.
No, it's second. You were saying to me that you do all this and then you have no armor vitality. No, Aegis is not bad. Aegis is fine. It just doesn't do much against damage. But this has to be a troll. Archon continues to roll guard, fast reflection vigilante. Like, this is so bad. I don't even know how you need equilibrium on this. You're comfortable in full energy because, yeah. Level cap viable, what can I say? This is terrible. Fucking, like, oh my god. Which level 3 out of 10? Jesus, holy shit. Divine.
A new extraction site may now be claimed.
Oh boy. Ugly, welcome back. So Divine your build will get a ban out of 10 regardless, but in all seriousness, this is pretty terrible. How can you equip what? Wait, hold on. It's the buzzword. Why can you equip cautiously? You can't tell how bad it is. No, I can tell how bad it is. It's really
Marking
bad.
void treasure extraction site.
Like, it is so bad that I don't want it. The only decent thing about this build is that it has fire rate, but it's actually terrible. No, happy, but Hunter fast or crit damage with not critical chance. And you wait, is it really not hitting him? It's crazy if it's not hitting him. That's crazy. Yeah, it's missing. Bro, it misses. It misses. What the fuck? Wait. Okay, I'm gonna body shot him because like it just misses. Nah. Nah, you have cooked something insane here. Heavy caliber Buzzlock goes nuts, nah? Oh my god.
Are here.
Bro, I can't hit him. It misses, bro. It legit misses. It doesn't do bad damage, but you can't hit him. Oh my god.
Sweet. Excellent work.
It doesn't do much damage, but you can't hit him. That's crazy. Use Arcane.
stored the amphors the crucibles need. Retrieve them. A magnetic crucible. Find electricity and cold amphors. The needed amphors at the crucible.
Go on the offensive. Of heat and electricity amphors.
elemental combinations as you modify your weapons and warframes.
Strike. We have to win this. Attack us and we will counter.
What a waste! You're scarred vessel comes to beg once more, you will never...
You have calmed the storm. Return to the world above. Content with merely doing enough. The Paradox has drawn Void Angels to besiege the Undercroft. Undo what their claws have done. Or Duviri may fall to something worse, even than Thrax. The ruptures can be closed, but only if you collect enough ambient void energy. Seize the globes that float nearby. The rupture is closed. The Paradox stabilizes. Fight on. Close the ruptures as you would staunch the wounds of a comrade. The Void Angels are unrelenting. You are all that is keeping them at bay. Hold fast. If the Void Angels break through the wall, their master will be freed. Do not allow that to happen. A breach has been sealed. Excellent work. Duviri's defenses to reinforce them. Excavators and keep them powered. extraction site may now be claimed. Extractor in place. Excavator under attack. An extractor requires power. Excavator is almost destroyed. Excavator lost. Your work wasted. Secrets lie buried deep within the Undercroft. The Paradox provides the means to extract them. You must protect the excavators and keep them powered. Extractor deploying. Enemies are assaulting your excavator. Marking Void Treasure Extraction Site. Extractor in place. Void treasure location established. Extractor deploying. The extractor is out of power. The void treasure has been located. Enemies are assaulting your excavator. Excavator is severely damaged. Protect it or lose it. You allowed the enemy to destroy an excavator. You have gained much. If you choose, you may now leave. This struggle to report back. A warrior must strike where the foe's armor is weakest. Do not hesitate to attack when an opening presents itself. Avoid the beams. You have an opportunity. Take it. You triggered its defensive precepts. Find where it has fled to. It has support. Change your focus. Something is shielding it from harm. Find out what. It will not get up again. Jackal destroyed. More will follow, no doubt. Some nightmares recur. winds blow fiercely, the rains do not relent. Still, the stout bow stands.
No wax black vanilla.
Well, good people, this is the latest iteration of the Landcool series. This is the Landcool 3.
Your
They
resolve
don't even
is-
call it mesh anymore because it is just part of the DNA.
And just an FYI, it is no longer born to push limit, it is now born to excel.
The new boxes are extremely heavy. Make sure to engage that core and lift with your legs. Frame, so it's 20% larger in volume versus the Landcool 2 mesh, and it's also almost twice the price at launch versus the previous one. The price ranges from $149 to $169 depending on the fan configuration you get. Also taking into account shipping prices and prices in general, the price difference between the Landcool 3 and the Landcool 2 mesh is about $30. So it's not that significant, and if you're still looking for a solid, more compact mid-tower, the Landcool 2 mesh should still be considered. This is not replacing it, it's just another iteration. So one of the biggest differences is the front panel. As you can see, it's still mesh, but look at how you get inside the case. Hop. So we have these aluminum sections at the front that are part of the front panel. So no longer do you have to open this tiny bottom one and pry the glass open. We have these dedicated sort of opening sections at the front. So that means you don't have to touch the glass. That's awesome, unless you are closing it. But alternatively, because this is brushed aluminum, it's gonna get gunky and dirty very quickly because you are actually interacting with it. I recommend cleaning this immediately
understands how to
after use.
combine
So this is not really an issue for the white model because the aluminum here is sandblasted, so different texture, does not reveal any fingerprints, and you also have to be careful when you are releasing the mechanism because it is on a spring, it is also on a plastic clip, so don't pull too hard, otherwise this will snap. The I/O between the two models is the same in terms of USB 3 ports, a Type-C, power reset switches, combined audio jacks, but the RGB model gets the mode and color switches for the RGB fans. Now you know. Let's hear a message from our sponsor.
The all-new wireless range from Extrify. The absolutely awesome NC1 now makes wireless to give you a confidence teardrop boost.
Liberate
full
the
wireless,
necessary
perfect ergo shape, because shape is king, my friend. And M.2 wireless with the asymmetric body is for all the grades to shine. All mice charged with USB-C have a swappable back and adjustable weight distribution, are super lightweight, and have 75 hours of battery life. To get the cable, start gaming, check out the Extrify MZ1, M4, and the M42 wireless. So the bottom end open just like the board will be hard drive storage and the power supply area. They are attached, or this thing is attached to the frame with magnets, so there's no physical secure way to attach it to the frame. Instead, I don't see that anyway. The magnets are very strong. Because of the release wings, removing the front panel is very challenging, so I would recommend sliding the top panel back, getting nice grip on the corners, and pulling. Alright, so now you have full access to the front panel and this fan bracket. Man, it is still amazing, and they've done some improvements too. Now we can remove all the panels. The top mesh just sits on a thumb screw, easy peasy. The side glass has to be fully open and just slide up, so here and there. The same thing on the other side. Since we've already removed the front panel, this thing should just slide forward. Sometimes that happens. Looks like I forgot to remove this plastic cage that sits on the corner of the temple glass panel for transportation purposes. So
no longer need that. This is the Warframe. Let's talk about some of the cool things inside. So this power supply bracket has a lot of functionality. First of all, you can mount 3 SSDs facing the rear, so each individual sort of square can do either an SSD or a 1.4 fan, which is awesome. You can also slightly move this bracket forward to give you a little bit more clearance away from the PCI slot. Without single length of clearance. This thing supports the 360mm radiator or 120mm fans. This is awesome. GPU side, or if you want to go full crazy water cooling, and it is spaced out from the motherboard, so it's not going to interfere unless, of course, you have something populated in those bottom PCI slots. I really like how the frame over here is trying to allow unrestricted access to the thumb screws. In typical utilize additional storage, so after 3 weeks, obviously placing these cavities so you have additional clearance for all your cables. This whole thing can also be removed completely if you want to just use the mesh by itself, and we have 2 dedicated SSD caddies right here. The cable management bracket can be loosened up with 2 thumb screws at the back, and you have full range of mobility, allowing you to install an eATX motherboard without losing the functionality of this thing. You know, it is angled, so in this ATX format, you can pass your main cables through like the large rubber grommets, but then have a little bit of room underneath for all the tiny pins that don't need to exit from the main grommets. That's pretty clever. You can mount up to 4 3.5-inch drives in the bottom section right here. So these individual drive hinges have an individual caddy. So right there is a metal caddy moved from the front of the cooler and difficult to access thumb screw, but the screws that you can remove the individual cages if you want to just clear up all this room. And once one of them is removed, you have full flexibility from mobility if you want to have a little bit more clearance in the power supply, or you want to have a little bit more clearance in the front. So that's pretty awesome. And you can also stack the drive caddies into a single drive cage to utilize both.
Às voltas com o regresso às aulas. Equação de poupança em Fnac.pt.
Nice. The case by default comes with 4 140mm fans. That is absolutely insane if you want to get the best out of the box cooling performance. We'll talk about temperatures later. So RGB fans for the RGB version, standard fans non. Only have slight variations, but the coolest thing about this is this front fan bracket. Let me show you. I would say it's one of the most innovative fan brackets here. So it releases with this push to release mechanism because you can secure it when it comes to fully secured. This thing will support up to 3 140s and 120s and up to a 360 radiator. The coolest thing though is that this whole thing is very modular, so you can remove it, install everything, and put it back together. But look at this, you can rotate it, and in this configuration the fan mounts are facing you, so you have a little bit easier access to, let's say, install the fans or remove some stuff. But even cooler is this deeper cavity. With this configuration, you can have both the radiator and the fans on this side of the frame without interfering with the front panel, so that's awesome. Rotating allows for you to mount the radiator, for example, on the inside and a set of fans on this side for that sandwich style. Yeah, so lots of flexibility, my friends. Of course, for a case of this size, having a 140 at the rear is a must. Check out all this clearance in the top panel. The top fan bracket is absolutely loaded. 2 screws and it is removable. Easier installation of all your components, and there's only one way to insert it back in, so there's no confusion. This thing can mount up to a 420 radiator, which is absolutely insane. There's a fill port over here, and yeah, lots of flexibility for mounting anything in the top. Also, there's just enough clearance from the top panel, so none of the screws will bump into this top mesh. If, like me, you hate cable management, have no fear. The Lanco 3 has got you covered. So first of all, we have these covers that hide all the mess that you might create, and they are easily removable, so that's easy. The other thing to keep in mind about this gear is that the only opening is right at the bottom. So all the cables must pass on this side, because if there's anything passing right behind the CPU cutout, this thing won't pass. But, I mean, cables are long enough these days anyway. So we have some velcros over here to route some bigger stuff, and everything goes pre-routed for the forward fans and everything from the front panel, which, by the way, can be moved from the top at the bottom. The procedure is straightforward, 2 screws, and you just mount this module at the bottom of the case, has all the holes and everything. And the reason for this is to clear out all these cables. There are plenty of them in the front I/O, so that if you do mount a radiator and anything, it will not interfere. Also clever is this Lian Li logo on the front panel. 2 screws in the back, and you mount it on the opposite side, right here, so nothing feels out of whack. Now, a few more notable bits and bobs over here. This plastic case is included with every Lenko 3. Allows you to populate the thumb screws and stuff and everything. All your accessories are already inside. I love that feature. Fantex used to do it, now they don't. And now they're really jumping on this plastic bandwagon. Now, on the inside, everything is wood. It supports gaming, LCD powers, use
60 seconds left.
Reservoir, website motherboard, motherboard. So the experience is just what you would expect from a standard 2022 full tower and above. I will say that the black version is total blackout. There is no shape to it unless you add some light to your view. As you can see, and that is why I prefer the white model, because it has a little bit more character, because the shape, the preparation, as for temperatures, what we're expecting, it's exactly the type of result you would get for 140 miller included fans inside the enclosure. The CPU temperature is totally fine, the GPU temperature is perfectly fine, so just as we were with the Lenko 2 mesh, if you're looking for kind of really good performance out of the box, this is the way to go. Although I will say that the fractal form case for massive front, you do gain slight advantage, so that's a potential win for you if you're looking for like the best out of the box performance. But there's slightly less interchangeable if you spot something out there. Those fans, you don't use them for much else.
Periodically, life support will appear.
In terms of
use it only as you must.
Hardware compatibility.
Only 60 seconds remain.
Everything is a check. And the price point, 149 to 169, depending on the model and the color. It is what it is. The only thing is you have to be mindful. All steel, pretty much all steel, and it is extremely heavy. It's like one of the heaviest cases I've worked with in the past 6 months or so. So just keep that in mind. Take care of your back. Alright guys, I'm Dimitri, thanks much for watching, check out this other relevant content, subscribe for more. If you have any thoughts on the Lenko 3, let me know in the comments below. I'll talk to you.
30 seconds left. Life support has been activated.
In Lili's new SL120 Grindig fans and the new Trimmer Plus. Let's just say the build is a spectacular one-time.
Your life support expires in 30 seconds.
I live in an area where it rains a lot, and I'm not able to wear any of my comfortable shoes because water gets through them and my socks get wet. So it makes it really difficult for me to do my daily walking and errands. But with my Vessi sneakers, who's also kind enough to sponsor today's video,
goes on
I don't
for
have
as
to worry
long
about
as you
that.
can
These are
stand.
100% waterproof and snowproof, which is crazy to say considering how lightweight and comfortable these feel. Vessi sneakers are also made out of Dymatex, which keeps you cool in the summer and warm in the winter. But I gotta say, my favorite shoe from Vessi has to be their Everyday Move, which also has been launched recently on their website, because not only is this
well, good without losing the functionality of this thing. You know, it is angled, so in this ATX format, you can pass your main cables through like the large drive, but then have a little bit of room underneath for all the tiny things that don't need to exit from the main grommets. That's pretty clever. You can mount up to 4 3.5-inch drives in the bottom section over here. So these individual drive cages have an individual caddy. So right there, it's the metal caddy. You have to remove it from the front over here. It's a little bit of a difficult to access thumb screw, but what's cool is that you can remove the individual cages if you want to just clear up all this room. And once one of them is removed, you have full flexibility for mobility if you want to have a little bit more clearance from the power supply, or you want to have a little bit more clearance from the front. So that's pretty awesome. And you can also stack the drive caddies into a single drive cage. The case by default comes with 4 140mm fans. That is absolutely insane if you want to get the best out of the box cooling performance. We'll talk about temperatures later. We loaded 2 screws, and this rear panel is that it will not interfere with these cables. It's pretty clever. Also clever is this AMD logo on the front panel. 2 screws in the back, and you mount it on the opposite side right here, so nothing feels out of whack. Now, a few more notable bits and bobs over here. This plastic case is included in every Mantle 3. It allows you to populate some thumb screws and stuff and everything. All your accessories are already inside. I love that feature. Fantix used to do it, now they don't. And now AMD is jumping on this plastic bandwagon. Now on the inside, everything is moving. It supports really more towers, massive GPUs. You can now account for reservoir, right-side motherboard. There's still plenty of space even with the ATX motherboard. So the experience is just what you would expect from a standard 2022 full tower and above. I will say, however, that the black version is total blackout. There is no shape to it unless you add some light to reveal some stuff on the enclosure, as you can see, and that is why I prefer the white model, because it has a little bit more character, because the shape, the perforation is slightly more visible. As for temperatures, what we were expecting, it's exactly the type of result you would get if you have 4 140mm included fans inside the enclosure. So CPU temperatures are totally fine. GPU temperatures are perfectly fine. So just as they were with the Lanco 2 mesh, if you're looking for kind of really good performance out of the box, this is the way to go. Although I will say that the Fractal Torrent cases, because of those massive 200mm intake fans at the front, you do gain slight advantage. So that's a potential win for you if you're looking for like the best out of the box performance. But those fans are slightly less interchangeable if you want to swap something out there, and those fans, you cannot use them for much else inside the case anyway. So the Lanco 3, in terms of the user experience, in terms of hardware compatibility, in terms of cooling, everything is a check mark. And the price point, $149 to $169, depending on the model and the color. It is what it is in today's market. The only thing is you have to be mindful that it's all steel, pretty much all steel, and it is extremely heavy. It's like one of the heaviest cases I've worked with in the past 6 months or so. So just keep that in mind. Take care of your back. Alright guys, I'm Dimitri. Thanks so much for watching. Check out this other relevant content. Subscribe for more. If you have any thoughts on the Lanco 3, let me know in the comments below. I'll talk to you in the next video.
What a waste.
Ladies and gentlemen, today I'll be building a gorgeous all-white PC inside the brand new Lian Li Lanco 3 case. But that's not... Alright, so we're not going to be using the hard drive cages. In fact, I don't even remember the last time I used a hard drive in a build. I think it's been like 2 or 3 years. And my daughter is playing with the lights. 1 second. What are you doing, girl? I'm working right now. Here, play with this. Alright, as I was saying, we're going to be moving the hard drive cages. The last time I've used a hard drive in a build was like over 3 years ago. So they're a bit obsolete to me. So let's go and remove these. So let's see. Let's go and remove these thumb screws in the bottom here. And it should be an easy slide out. Oh, you slide to the right and then you pull out. Very nice. Just like what I do on the weeknights. Slide and pull out, facing the correct position. I love that they even upgraded their fan hub. So before, you used to have two separate cables for each fan cluster, one for the fan speed and one for the RGB. Well, they actually combined both of those into a single 7-pin connector, making it super easy and convenient to plug straight into the hub and to reduce cable clutter inside of your PC. So just like before, you guys can hook up 4 uni fans together and plug it into a slot on the hub. And this hub has 4 slots, so you can potentially plug up to 16 fans. All right, so I got the AIO.
And the Zariman are breaking into the Undercroft. Repair the damage to keep them at bay. You will have to be nimble to collect those energy globes, but they are the only means to close the breaches. The rupture is closed. The paradox stabilizes. Fight on. Close the ruptures as you would staunch the wounds of a comrade. A breach has been sealed. Excellent work. Break through the wall, their master will be freed. Do not allow that to happen.
Fully equipped, ready to go. Move the top bracket so that we can install the radiator really easily. Actually, a different connector. Very nice job, Lian Lee. Most other cases leave such a small cutout to pass through these cables, and it's very freaking easy. I'm also going to replace the rear 140mm fan just because it's not RGB, and I do love consistency, so we're going to swap it with the new SL120 Infinity. I almost forgot about the thermal paste. You know what, I'm not going to spread it this time.
The smallest breach in the wall may become a gaping wound. Thanks to you.
Time, this should be more than plenty. Oh god, it's spilling everywhere. Do not try this at home, folks. It's probably the worst thermal paste application I've ever done. but it'll be only where I would replace the stock 140. This is me just nitpicking again, but you know, I would have loved to see a white braided cable, just so the black doesn't really stick. Updated from before, so they're more flexible. As you guys can see, you get those super tight bends, which is perfect because look how beautiful. Look at that, you guys. Are you serious? Are you? Let me zoom in a little bit for you guys. Look at that. Is that the PCI extension belt is actually. All right, guys, so unfortunately, I think I hit a brick wall with the build. I think Liam Lee sent me a defective vertical GPU kit. There's supposed to be 2 standoffs where those holes are so that I can reposition the riser cable, but unfortunately, there's nothing there. It's just 2 cutouts. So I think they forgot to install the standoffs in there. There's no other standoffs anywhere else inside the bags. I've triple checked everything. So yeah, there's basically no way for me to secure the riser cable to the bracket. And if I can't do that, I can't mount the GPU, unfortunately. So I sent an email to Lee to kind of figure out what happened. You know, this is a mistake. What other things I can do to kind of get around this? But you know, if I don't hear from them, I think I'm just gonna proceed with the build and kind of mount it the only way I can.
5 minutes later.
All right, guys, so I've decided I'm not gonna wait for a response. I'm just going to continue on with the build. In the meantime, I have the most jankiest solution over here. So I got 2 standoffs installed on the top, upside down, and then I screwed it in from the bottom using these 2 screws, just so it can hold it in place. I mean, it is definitely not the best solution, but it is all I can come up with in such a short time. All cables are in. Wow, even with the riser cable moved, it's still gonna be a very tight fit. Let's see if we can make it. That is tough.
As bactérias provocam placa na sua boca e ao longo da linha das gengivas. Experimente o novo Colgate.
All this information is pretty much useless to me, but anyways, yep, an hour down the drain. I just have to peel this damn sticker off.
If you wanted all the extra drive mounts, it is not really mesh. It's kind of mesh in looks only, because you do end up obstructing a lot of it. But it's also on a side where the airflow is not that critical because the power supply is cooled from underneath anyway. The top rated mount is NZXT would be proud here.
Let's start with the front I/O. These are the RGB control buttons here. We've got the standard color and mode buttons. If I hit mode, it cycles through some of the built-in lighting modes. If I hit color, it cycles through 7 baked-in colors. This is
the P500A is the half 500, whatever it was called, that came out recently, following the much cheaper previous one. Would technically be a competitor, but we couldn't really recommend it at its price point when it launched, and we certainly don't against something that costs similarly and is much more interesting and better. You can always go cheaper too and check out something like the Fractal Pop Air, which we actually liked a lot and was in the $90 to $100 range. The Fractal Torrent on the other end, closer to $200, $190, $200 is a personally, subjectively, I think a step up in overall quality and feel. It drops all of the sort of mechanical gimmicks and elements, however you want to look at them, and just focuses on one thing, which is lots of air volume, and it works well. The Torrent Compact is in there as well. So those are your options to look at for competition. We think this case overall does well thermally, and we have a few concerns for longevity of some of the stuff in here. That's normally the trade-off for things that are different and unique and bordering on gimmicks, but it does work well right now today. Last bit I want to throw in, so this is one of the few cases where Patrick and I didn't fully agree on our viewpoint on it throughout the process until the end, where when I saw it from the beginning, I was like, that's a pretty nice case, it looks good. I hadn't tested it or worked with it yet, but it was on the bench, and I thought it looked pretty good. He was like, I'm not so hot on this case, and as he continued working on it, that turned into, I don't like this case. And then we got to the end, and he said it's starting to grow on me. And here's where things changed. When we review cases and most products, we try to isolate ourselves from the price of the product until the last moment when we're making judgments on value, because that helps us remove bias from the testing and the writing process about things like the features and the thermal or acoustic performance, so we can look at those in a vacuum. Then we add the price back in. It's like you're baking a cake and you need to sprinkle in a pinch of
Earlier today, Cyberpunk 2077 got its patch 2.13 update. For me on GOG, this is about a 2.3GB download, but it was notably larger on Steam at 5GB in size. But it did require 59GB of working space to install. And due to what was changed with this update, it's not available on consoles, at least as of right now. At its core, this update's going to provide some new upscaler options, as well as update some of the existing upscalers in Cyberpunk. So even though it is a relatively small and minor update, this is honestly a pretty big deal. For the vast majority of you watching right now, you're about to get a pretty big FPS boost in Cyberpunk 2077 totally for free. But as you can imagine, there are some consequences on the modding side as a result of this update, and a bit later on in this update, we'll even talk about the future of Cyberpunk, as this may very well be the final update for this game. The biggest addition of patch 2.13 was AMD FSR3 support, and this is genuinely a big deal. I did a ton of benchmarking and running a bunch of tests, and right now, FSR3 is how I can get the best FPS in Cyberpunk 2077, at least.
What's it like to learn math on Brilliant.org? Brilliant gets you hands-on to help you learn by doing. Learn topics
for the most part. At its core, the big appeal of FSR3 is it comes with its own version of frame generation. You've probably heard of this. For a long time, Nvidia had this with DLSS 3.0 or even 3.5, but of course that has a giant asterisk next to it because Nvidia's frame generation is hardware locked to 4000 series GPUs. Conversely, AMD's frame generation has no restrictions. Any of you watching right now, as long as you're playing on PC, can use frame generation in Cyberpunk now, which means you'll get a giant performance gain. Right off the bat, if you were previously using AMD FSR 2.1, which does not have frame generation, and are now immediately switching to FSR 3.0, for me personally, I saw an instant 50 FPS
The system continues to fall into chaos. Check navigation for active invasions.
Hello, world!
confusa depois de tantas pesquisas online para este regresso às aulas.
Com os packs FNAC com portátil.
So I've shown a few people this PC build over the past couple of weeks. They know it looks different, but they don't really know why. They can't put their finger on what specific thing it is that makes this build look unusually clean. But if you take a closer look, where there's usually cables, connectors, plugs, fan headers, it is completely blank. And that's because they're all exiting out the back. Here is the motherboard 24 pin, here are the CPU pins, then you plug into the back of the motherboard. This is the new trend.
A steady stream of toxic spores is being released into the area. Hold on. Emergency life support is inbound.
Gigabyte, we're actually the first company.
Oh, aren't you going to introduce me to your little playmate?
Get ready for a capsule. I've delivered a life support capsule to the area. Activating it will buy you more time.
Those mean old queens were quite angry with me, running off with you like this. But it's worth it.
Tenno, prepare for life support. I've delivered another life support capsule. 30 seconds left. Life support activated. Life support incoming. Additional life support has arrived. Running out of time. The operative has just made their first discovery. Keep up the good work. Extraction is available, if you need it. The spores have almost completely saturated the atmosphere. You need to get out of there.
And so we learn the importance of clarity.
Estás a... Estejas a falar disso.
E agora?
Agora estou a ouvir.
Então, beleza, ok. Como é que estamos?
Tranquilo, estou a apanhar seca já. Portanto, é.
Queres jogar um LOLzinho para tirar a seca? Vou jogar um aramezinho.
Queres ir a um aramezinho? Podemos ir a um aramezinho.
Não, acabei a missão, puto. Eu também estou.
Acabei.
Vou ver se faço a semita. Rapidinho.
Rapidinho? Boa sorte.
Bora. Do quê? É muito difícil?
Tu não fazes isso rapidinho, a semita demora bué.
Mais com o Panzer?
Muito mais. Aí o dobro ou o triplo, yeah.
Esquece, já desisti então.
Tens que andar a escanear merdas, escanear gatos.
Acabei de receber mais de 75% de desconto.
Jesus.
Não, eu já não vou pôr.
Não metas, não metas. Então eu vou desligar aqui.